Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Treble Clef Project. Today I'm joined with another very talented special guest, and she's going to introduce herself and tell us about her involvement in the performing arts.
Hello, I'm Katelyn Dilbeck, and I'm a senior going into Doherty. And music and theater has been something that has pushed me through almost my whole entire life. I involved myself with DVHS drama, and I've done other outside programs like Bay Area Children's Theater. And honestly, theater is what kind of fueled me. It's what pushes me through, honestly.
When and why did you start performing?
I started performing for the first time. I remember I was 5 years old and we were at a fair, and I got up on the stage and I started singing, and my parents were in absolute disbelief because I used to be a very reserved person. I still am pretty reserved. Um, but the second I go onto a stage, I essentially, like, it's like I find myself and I can be the voice that I can't necessarily vocalize in a setting like this, maybe because of social anxiety. Um, so yeah, I started around the second grade with like Sleeping Beauty, something super small, and I truly found a love for it there.
Tell us a little bit about your experience being in theater, both in school and then I know you also said you do BATC.
Yeah. Um, my experience honestly has been amazing because you all get together and it's essentially like creating a family with so many people, and it's hard to get that type of family and inclusiveness in a lot of other places. I'm a part of some other things and I don't get connections like I do there, um, which is really amazing. So, yeah.
And what is it like being in a theater company outside of school and in regards to like the workload and also the community there?
Yeah, it was definitely hard because I would have to drive an hour every Saturday for 6 hours. And our tech week, we were staying until like 10 p.m. and I had like tests and exams. Um, but I feel like that made me stronger and more connected with theater because it was something that drove me, and the fact that I was doing this on top of having all of this work honestly made me yeah, again feel more connected. And so yeah, the workload, yeah, I got stressed at times. I knew that it's like, how can I spend so many hours doing this? But when I really like realized why I was doing it, it was amazing.
Mhm. And how do you like what advice do you have for people who are struggling to find that balance between like your social life and then also being part of theater and also managing schoolwork along with that?
Yeah. I completely understand. I am I get super anxious really easily. And so what I would recommend is simply starting off small, because there are some theater groups that only meet for 1 hour a week and then you just have a performance. So it's like kind of slowly putting your feet in the water, just testing it out. And I feel like a lot of people put so much significance on their work, their academics, and I feel like theater is a chance to escape from that. And so take like allotting yourself time to be able to grow in that regard, by doing theater. It may seem like something more on your schedule, but honestly, it's a big relief. Um, so yeah, I definitely recommend starting off small. I know even BACT has really small things that you can start off with, and then you can continue to grow.
So out of all the roles that you've played in the past, which has been your favorite?
I would say my favorite role was in Honk, which is a musical that a lot of people don't know of, and I played this super sassy character. Her name was Grace, and I just remember getting casted as that character, and I was like, this is not me at all. I couldn't I had a hard time fathoming how am I going to do this, but I felt like I was doing a lot of character development and truly getting in to the point where I kind of felt like my character, and I got to feel like, I kind of disconnected from myself for just a second. And honestly, I felt a really big connection with her in that role just because I had to do so much to try and fit into what she was.
What is one of your favorite things about performing?
One of my favorite things is this kind of connects to what I said in the beginning, but I am really, really shy. I am socially anxious. I have a hard time making friends. And so when I go on the theater, though, it's like I have the chance to play another role. And it's like I have a chance to show like who I am. I don't have to feel like my voice is silenced. And yeah, I kind of break free from essentially everything. And it's a good outlet for me. And yeah.
What is something that you've learned from theater?
I learned that I kind of gained insight in the fact that essentially grades aren't necessarily everything. Um, and I gained that through just the family that I got in our DVHS drama because I'm so used to correlating DVHS with academics. So the second I got a chance to realize that there are people at our school that aren't like in that, mental state where you have to get straight A's and everything. Um, it was relieving. And so I learned that, you don't necessarily have to be so focused on academics and following your passions will take you so much more farther. And yeah.
How has the pandemic affected your theater experience and the way you perform?
So what happened during the pandemic is it was really hard to do theater because a theater is essentially, getting together in an environment and producing a show together. And so I kind of lost that sense of proximity that normally is in theater. And honestly, in the beginning, I was somewhat discouraged um, of doing anything. And I feel like I took a break from it. I wasn't able to participate in the DVHS drama, and I couldn't participate anywhere outside because of COVID and those restrictions. And so I feel like during this time, I've been cultivating everything that I've learned through theater and somewhat implementing that into who I am. Because I feel like I'm insecure. That's the reason why I kind of reserve myself from everyone. And so I've been trying to take what I've learned being on the stage and being open and being free and implementing that into my own life because now I have the time to do so.
What is a memorable experience that you've had being a part of theater?
I remember after the closing of Beauty and the Beast, we all came together and hugged, and I was crying. And it was honestly one of the most heartwarming experiences, also sad because I knew the seniors were leaving. But it was like, it was in that moment, I was just like, this is my family, this is my home. Life gets really hard sometimes, but I do belong here. That's when I really was like immersed in it.
Why do you think theater is important and why should it be encouraged in youth?
Um, I definitely think theater is a way to bring out I feel like a more emotional side of people and allow people to empathize because I feel like in theater you're constantly studying and doing character development to try and fit your character the best. And it's like you have to understand that character. And I feel like in our generation, since we're always just texting and everything, it's like we don't really have those connections and it's really hard for us to understand people. So you can implement that in that way. And honestly, I feel like theater is everyone has this vision that we're just people who sing musical songs everywhere. And um, we do sometimes, but I guess it's like they associate that with people who maybe don't necessarily care about academics and maybe they're, I don't know what they associate it with. And I want to stop that, just that stigma that stays there. And I want to create an inclusive environment because I know that people are scared to join, but I want others to join. Mm.
I love that. So my last question for you is what advice do you have for people who want to get involved in theater?
I would say just believe or just do it. And stay true to yourself. Because it's so easy to back out. Auditions scare me so much. It's so easy to say, you know what, I don't want to do this. But just put yourself out there. And it's going to be hard in the beginning. Maybe you start off with a small role. You probably don't feel significant. My first role was an owl, and I only had one line, and it was who. But, from there I've grown. And so don't be discouraged by the process. And we're so welcoming. It might seem like we aren't in the beginning, but once you get a chance to fully immerse, then you'll definitely be welcomed. But don't be discouraged by anything.
All right, well, those are all the questions that I had for today. Thank you so much for being here and for sharing your knowledge and experiences with us.
Of course. Thank you for having me.
That's all for the video. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe, and we'll see you on Wednesday for another one. Bye, everyone.